Good morning, folks. It is Friday, May 2nd, 2025. I missed making a video yesterday. Yesterday morning, I ended up going for a ride with my brother number 3. I have 4 brothers and a sister. But I ended up going for a ride up to Northville, the Saginaw Lake. And then I had plans. I thought, well, I'm going to wait until 7:30, 7 o'clock, 7:30, and go down to the track and get my walk in then. But wouldn't you know it, that by the time 7 o'clock rolled around, I was already tired. And I didn't want to do it. So life happens. I guess we just got to deal with it. But I want to try to do it as often as I can, get out here and walk or do something, some kind of exercise. And I want to start going into the trails. I know I'm a little afraid to go in there alone, but I just love being in the trails up here in the Adirondacks. It's cooler. Now, it's almost 10 o'clock right now, so it's getting a little hot out here. And I don't want to be in the hot sun in the middle of the day. And actually, they say that it's better to go either in the morning or in the evening. It's healthy. I mentioned that in my last video, that you get a lot of benefits from getting sun. So I like to come a little earlier than this, but you got to do what you got to do. But I did pretty good. I don't know if any of you saw that video. I think it was on Tuesday where I had that meltdown with the potato chips and dip. Well, I've been good since then. I've been very good. When I say good, I don't mean I've been perfect carnivore or ketovore. But I've been pretty, when I say good, I've been pretty good with the low carb. Last night I made a roast for dinner, and that's all I had. And then like a half an hour after that, I was getting that feeling again, that low sugar feeling. And I actually opened a can of peas, because I know peas. I have peas in my closet from back in the day. But I had just probably a quarter of a cup. And that satisfied me, and I felt better. So this sugar up and down is crazy. Now, I'm doing a lot better right now than I was. When I was out of control over a month ago, man, I had a lot of ups and downs with the sugar. The hangry feeling that comes on you all of a sudden, because your sugar's low. And I'm basically a happy person when I'm feeling good. But I've noticed in the last few years, even if I have to make a phone call to one of the businesses, like to cable or to National Grid or anybody, and I know that I'm going to be on that phone for a long time, I honestly have to, I think it's getting better. I really do, but I would have to mentally prepare for that. I would have to make sure that I am feeling okay. And I would really have to mentally prepare to get on that phone, because you get the run around, you get switched around, you get held on, you're waiting for a long time for somebody to come on the phone. Or when you do finally get them, you have to explain it. Then they send you to someone else. You got to explain it. And that was causing me a lot of anxiety that I really had to prepare to make those calls. Now, I remember even it was so bad. I forget. It was a web channel that that I tried to start years ago, and it didn't last long. So I ended up canceling the subscription. Well, months later, I come to find out that they're still charging me. And do you know that I actually let that go for another few months because I didn't think I could handle getting involved on that phone call. I thought it was going to cause too much stress. And I wasn't on anxiety medicine or anything like that. You know, I've always been okay with that. But those instances, those ups and downs, it's hard. Things in life are hard. Simple things like making a phone call is hard. So, it's getting better. It's really getting better. And I haven't been, I've been back on it for a little over a month and 3 days or something. And I noticed some things already. You know, my teeth and everything from all that meat and protein I'm eating feels stronger. My whole jaw feels stronger. My dermatitis. Now, I've been losing my hair. So if you ever see me in a wig, you'll know why. But I've been losing my hair for 10 years now. And I'm hoping this is going to change. And I'm actually thinking it might look a little fuller. So, my nails are a little stronger. I don't know if I've mentioned that before. And, just the fact that I'm getting out here and wanting to walk, that's a major change. Because, that food, you honestly don't want to do anything. You don't want to go anywhere. It's embarrassing. You think you're going to run into somebody that you might know. Now, I don't have that problem if I'm in somewhere else, if I'm out traveling, because I figure I'm never going to see those people again. But I get horrified about running into somebody. And you always seem to be feeling your worst when you run into somebody you know. But it's embarrassing. And I think that the first thing they're saying is, boy, she gained some weight. And they might not be thinking that at all, but I'm pretty sure they do. They can't help but notice. I can't blame it on them. But the worst thing is when you run into, or even when you're talking to anybody, and they're looking you in the eye, and you're having a nice conversation, and the next thing you know, they're looking at your belly. I mean, there's been times I came right out and told them, if I knew them well enough, don't look at my belly. But, because my belly is where I have the most problem. And that's the most unhealthiest. All around the heart, fat and liver. And I haven't been diagnosed, but I'm sure I got fatty liver. I have to. So anyway, I'm doing okay. Well, I'm doing good. But I still have the normal struggles till I lose this weight. I can't find a decent thing to wear. I go down to TJ Maxx and think I'm gonna find something nice, and it looks wonderful on the hanger, but I take it on and I go into the dressing room and I get undressed, which is a chore, put it on, try to squeeze into it, look in the mirror and say, no way. And I refuse to buy the next size up. I refuse to buy it, so I don't buy a lot of clothes. And so hopefully, once I lose some of this weight, I could start. Now, that's another reason why you don't want to go out in public, because you don't have anything decent to wear. Thank God I'm not dating right now, because just preparing for a date just boggles my mind. That would be hard. That would be so hard to prepare for a date and worry about what you're going to wear. Put your makeup on, try to look presentable. I haven't been dating for a while. Actually, how long's it been now? I would say probably 3 or 4 years. But that's okay, because right now I need to take care of myself. You know, it was hard when I was dating. I would invite him over for dinner, and, you know, I had to cook. Now I only cook what I need to cook, you know. I know that sounds selfish, but, you know, when you get unhealthy like this, you can't, I don't know, you know, I give so much credit to people out there that have families, men and women that are heavy. I give so much credit to them. I don't know how they do it. I mean, even when they're younger and they're raising kids and they're overweight, I can't imagine doing all of that. But, well, I'm older. I'm 60, almost 68, so, and I didn't have children, so maybe that's why I can't imagine it. You'll do anything for your kids, I'm sure. But life is hard when we let ourselves go. Life is not easy. When I look back, wow, I'm looking at this cemetery plot right here, Joseph Valkovic, and I knew somebody. Oh, that's not him. He died in 1926. Unless I was alive in a previous life. But life is so difficult to do anything, you know. But I know those of you that are suffering with my problems, you know all about it. You don't need anybody to tell you. You're just putting your shoes on. What a struggle. Socks and shoes, forget about it. You gotta mentally prepare yourself for that every morning too. Going to the bathroom. You know, I would only say this on this channel because I'm hoping all of you could relate. You know, I wouldn't say this out to the public world. But going to the bathroom when you're heavy is not easy. You know, and then with all the food that you got in your stomach, you gotta go number 2, at least I did, about 3 or 4 times in the morning. So that's all those times I gotta go in the bathroom and struggle. And then in my apartment I have a low toilet bowl, and I'm telling you, low. And I'm 5'9". I had to actually put a hand bar in there so I could help lower and raise myself, but that still didn't work. So I watched some videos about how old people or fat people get off a toilet bowl, and there's some good ones out there on YouTube. You could either, if you're sitting at the toilet bowl, right, spread your legs, not too wide, you know, be stable, and lower your head down between your legs, and at the same time you're doing that, raise your bottom. And I tell you, that works very well. That's one of them. And the other one is put your arm, now I have the sink on my left side, so you put your arm straight down on the front of the toilet seat and make your arm straight, and you use your arm to give you the strength to raise your bottom off the toilet seat. That's how I was doing it, you know. And it's still hard for me. I mean, I'm not anywhere close to being where I want to be. Now, I even ordered those. I ordered a beautiful, beautiful. It was beautiful to me when I got it. It was one of those portable toilets that you put over your toilet, and it raises it. So I thought it was great. I put it together slowly. I still can manage that. And I thought, wow, this is gonna be great. I won't have to sit so low. And I put that darn thing over my toilet. And I sat on it and I thought, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to wipe. Well, this thing has arms that you could push yourself up with. That's why I wanted that kind that had the arms on each side. And there was no way that there's such a tiny hole in the middle of those toilet seats, the portable ones, the one like I got, that you can't get your arm down in there with your fat body to wipe. That's how bad that is. So it was useless to me. It was useless. Now, a few years ago, I had one of those foam razors, and that was pretty much the same. I should have known better than buying this other one. So I packed it all up, and I sent it back to Amazon, and I got my refund. They're pretty good like that. But, I don't wish that on anybody to suffer like that. Normal activities. No. When I see somebody that's weight, I know I relate to them so much. I know what they're going through. We shouldn't have to live like this. And the doctors, when it comes right down to it, doctors are not going to be able to perform miracles. You can get all the meds you want. The meds are only camouflaging the problem. And they cause their own problems, different meds. And doctors, they're not going to be able to perform miracles. It's really all up to us. And I say that as a failure through and through. Because if I was so wonderful at doing it, I wouldn't be here right now. So when I say things like this, I'm talking to myself too, because I'm trying to convince myself I gotta do it. Nobody can do it. None of my loved ones can do it for me. And hopefully you could be with somebody that is understandable and supportive and not bringing pizzas home every night. And I know that happens. And, just because we're heavy, we can't expect people to change their lives. Although it does rub off on a lot of people when they start seeing how good you're doing. I hear stories about that. I'm sorry, I have to keep stopping. It's going to take me a while to do better, but I'm wondering if I could go around a third time today. Well, let me, just give me 1 minute, please, 1 minute, so I could take a drink of water. 1 minute. It's not easy with, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, folks. Sorry about that. I try to stay hydrated. But, and then you start getting all these things, slowly but surely. Like I said, my hair started falling out. I got dermatitis on I think that's what caused the hair loss. And then it's running down in Florida. It was all up here, running down the sides of my nose. I'd get pain in the crease of my nose. I got that tretinoin cream from a doctor down there, and that helped a little. But I still have it if I don't thoroughly cleanse and take care of my face and put the cream on. And I also got like a little bump on my eyelid, the bottom eyelid, and that's been there for 10 years. And I read about it. I think I got the diagnosis, but it doesn't get any bigger or smaller, but I think that's caused by carbs. And I think the excess sebum that's clogging up my nose and everything is from the carbs. I think the carbs was doing it. My teeth, my gums were red, they were bleeding, they were sensitive. I had to go to a periodontal dentist and get cleaning 3 times a month. And that is also, I believe, from the diet. Because in the last month, or even, I've been yo-yoing, so I can't attribute everything to this last month. I can't because I've been off and on. And I gained some good things those times that I were off and on. Like I said, that 1 year from 2023 in March to 2024 in March, I had my blood work done, and in 23 it was 7.9, and in 24 it was 6.4. So, and that was all my own doing without the meds. So, I was doing a lot of things right during that time. So anything I've gained, is due to all of it. But then this last year, I had the diverticulitis and I went off of it. And I went off of it, and I don't know if I should walk again. That in itself is a miracle, because I've been struggling. And if I even think that I want to go one more time, that's a good thing. But so, I'm hoping to do better and keep with it this time. Not get any injuries, not overdo anything, and do it slowly. Now, I did get on the scale about a week and a half ago, and I was down, I think, about 2.5 pounds. That is slow. That is so slow. But, I got to think positive about it all. I feel better, a little better. I'm not, I got a ways to go. I feel better, and I'm in the right direction. If I only lose 5 pounds a month, I think I'll be happy, because that's sustainable. That's changing the way that I eat, and it's not a quick fad diet. And that's the way they say to do it. Probably a little more than that, but like I said, I still occasionally have that carb, like a slice of bread or something. I still get my cravings. It ain't a craving. It's not a craving. Oh, that would be so good. What it is a feeling of the sugar loaf feeling, and I'm scared of those. I remember being out. We were looking at some sheds, a friend and a couple of brothers, and I couldn't stand around. I had to go back and get in the car. I couldn't. Well, that happens all the time. And I'd stop going out with them when they were going out to the stores, or to a few stores at a time. I didn't want to put myself in that position. And I don't like the idea, although I have done it a couple times, but I don't like the idea of getting in those carts either. Because I know walking around is good for me. But too much of it, I try to do one thing a day. If I start putting too many plans into one day, then I'm all stressed out. Now, I'm all stressed out about this boating trip, camping trip I'm going on Memorial Day. I'm getting stressed. I try to do just one thing a day and not overwhelm myself. That's how bad that's how bad I've been. And I know you guys can relate to that. And if you guys have any ideas or input on the subject, I'd love to hear that I'm not alone. It'd be great if you could share some of the things that you're going through. And hopefully we can all get on the same program. Well, not the same program. I don't mean all of us on the low carb, because all of us don't need that. But anyway, I'm going to sign off. I'm not going to do the third time around. It's starting to get hot out here, and I'm going to do some stretches and head home. And I will see you guys the next time. Have a great day.